What's up, guys? Doug Polk here, and welcome back for another episode of Poker Hands. And today we're going to be talking about a hand from King of the Hill 2 that was played between Phil Hellmuth and Parker Talbot. Now, this hand got Phil Hellmuth nice and steamed up, but I don't want to spoil it too much. Let's go ahead and roll the clip.
Maybe 29, 28, 29, 30, something like that.
Okay.
You right hand quad jacks with a 7.
Our hand begins at 400, 800 blinds, and we're playing heads up with just about $30,000 effective. Parker has a little over 30K, and Phil Hellmuth has him covered with something in the vicinity of 70. Now, the hand begins with Parker opening up the button with 10-3 suited. Pretty standard here, nothing really to say. And then Hellmuth calling the big line with 10-8 offsuit. Again, not exactly great hands for either player, but you're playing heads up and you're going to have to play some pretty weak holdings unless you're okay getting bluffed. Anyway, that's our pre-flop action. Let's take a flop.
Check.
Wow, big flop here for Tonka and Hellmuth with the top pair. This could get interesting.
Walk it up.
It's decent sized bet here too, 2,200.
Would you say 11 outs is a lot of outs or a hell of a lot of outs?
I'd say a hell of a lot. Yeah, hell of a lot.
I agree.
Bit unlucky that they share the 10. Tonka had Jack 3 of hearts, or 9 3 of hearts. That'd be more.
If you guys are going to type outs in the chat, will you please at least use a Z and show some respect?
It's really an unusual amount of time that Phil is taking for just one bet.
Ben. 4-8 limit, Ben. Player at 22.
Wow, this is nuts.
Call.
Just bet the flop, that's all.
The flop comes 8-4 tray with 2 hearts, and this is a big flop for both players. Hellmuth flops top pair with middle kicker, and Parker flops bottom pair with a flush draw. Now, in this situation, I think once Hellmuth does check to Parker, he's got kind of an interesting spot. Traditionally, I like to check these hands back because it gives you some nice playability on different runouts when you do check back. Generally speaking, when you flop a flush draw, you're going to bet the flop. So by checking, you can have a couple surprise flushes when those hearts run out and your opponent tries to bluff you. But I also don't mind betting. Your hand has a ton of equity. You can get there on a lot of different runouts. You're beating a lot of hands that call. And then when you do get there, you're going to be able to play a large pot with a strong holding. And you're going to improve to 2-pair plus something around half the time. So I don't really mind either option here in Tonka's shoes. He does decide to go ahead and bet 2,200. And now the action's back over to Phil Hellmuth. Now, this was a little bit weird from Phil. He decided to take a really long time before eventually making the call. When you have top pair middle kicker, I would say that calling should be your normal play. If you raise and make this pot too big, you're not going to be happy with the result because oftentimes your opponent will have you out kicked or have an overpair or maybe even have some kind of 2-pair. And when you are ahead, they're often going to have a lot of equity with even a hand like Tonka does have, the 10-3 of hearts here. So Phil does eventually decide to make the call, and let's take a turn.
Wow.
Oh snap. This could get fun.
Well, this is a terrible card for Tonka. I mean, now he could be up against a full house. Even if a 3 comes, if Phil has an 8, he's lost. So, like, this could easily go check, check. I mean, Phil could lead. And I mean,
8,800.
wow. Over bets the pot here. This is just so annoying if you're Tonka. Like, you flopped huge. And sure, this card came in, it's bad, but like, you don't expect to get a larger than a pot-sized bet like thrown at you out of position here. And you're just like so frustrated. You can kind of see it in his face too.
Would you say it's kind of similar to having 2s on the button, having some jamoke shove all in on you?
Some jamoke. Yeah. I mean, if he does hit a heart, though, and if he calls and he hits a heart, Phil's going to lose it.
Why don't you use that big brain of yours to tell us what kind of pot odds he's getting on this call right here?
I mean, if he bets the pot.
The turn comes an 8, which gives Phil Hellmuth 3 of a kind. Now, a lot of players might want to check here and let their opponent take a stab. In fact, when you do call on the flop, there are many weak hands that you can have. But Phil Hellmuth isn't most players. He decides to lead for more than the entire size of the pot, $8,800 here on the turn. Now, I don't really like this play because if you are bluffing, you're not really giving yourself a very good price. Parker can easily have top pair that's turned trips, and when he is bluffing, that's twice as likely. The reason I don't like it when you have trips is now your opponent is much more likely to have air, and you want to give them a chance to take a stab. Against the hand that Tonka has specifically, though, it is quite amazing how this goes down. Tonka's in a rough spot. With the action now on him, he's going to have to make a frustrating decision. Does he call and hope to be able to sometimes show down his pair of 3s? Or does he fold and think that Hellmuth only has trips here? One of the things about Phil Hellmuth is he might not bluff a lot, but he does make moves. I think we all can remember that. 10K. This is it. Wait, what? I'm sorry, what just happened? So I would say here, if you just had a flush draw, you can maybe let it go. But the nut flush draw, or a flush draw plus a pair, or a flush draw plus a straight draw, you're going to have to call, because even if your opponent does have an 8, you actually do have a lot of equity against that hand. Not a ton, but enough to make a call worth it. If you throw in the fact that once in a while Hellmuth is bluffing, then you definitely have to make the call, which Parker does, and let's take a river.
He's got it. Oh, wow. Oh, that's amazing.
I'm all in.
Oh, God.
I call.
Wow.
3/8.
Sick.
Oh, come on.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
The river comes the Jack of Hearts, which is one of the best cards for Tonka. He makes his flush. I guess he didn't have too many outs. In Phil Hellmuth's shoes, he now has a bit of an interesting decision. Does he think his opponent has better trips? Does he think his opponent could have a flush? Does he think his opponent can even pay off with an overpair? With all of these complex things to think about, he sure did take his time to make such a critical decision.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's amazing.
I'm all in.
A little bit of an unlucky river there for Phil, but if there's anything we know about Hellmuth, he takes bad beats well, doesn't mention it, and focuses on playing his razor-sharp A-game.
Everyone stand by for tantrum.
8,800 with a fucking
Stand by.
3.
It's my lifelong dream right here, boys.
Mount St. Phil is about to erupt, folks.
To play Phil Hellmuth heads up and get him fucking steamed up, walking around, talking to himself. This is it right here. The goddamn dream.
I hope Phil has his Fitbit to count all these steps.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You can basically see him locking in the zone here. Check this out. Let's get a replay on that.
Fucking kidding me.
I don't even think it affected him.
That's why I'm Phil
my
Hellmuth.
God.
That's why I'm Phil Hellmuth.
What's that?
Because you have like 5 outs for all the money and call over pot bet. But I did it to you. It's not even your fault.
You white magic me and I got lucky. What can I say?
Just a quick reminder, guys, on October 25th and 26th, King of the Hill 3 will be going down at Sugar House Casino in Philadelphia. I'm going to be the host. I know, not quite back in the arena yet, but it should be a great one. $50,000 buy-in, $200K winner take all. If you guys want to check it out, it's going to be over on Twitch at Poker Night TV. That's going to be it for today's Poker Hands episode. If you guys like the show and you want to support it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the team.